Matthew, everyday audiophile, music lover, beer enthusiast. Now, as always, we're going to start with this and we're going to talk about today's topic. This is the New Belgium Danger Beach IPA. As far as IPAs go, it's not really my favorite. I have had it before, but it's definitely not bad. But we're going to go ahead and pour it. As the name implies, this is actually a pretty good IPA to bring on a hot day to the pool or to the beach. And that was actually a half decent pour. Let's go ahead and... Yep. It's a perfect beach IPA for sure. So, I very recently got to have my second experience with Real. And that was listening to Muddy Waters' Folk Singer on tape. And it was the first time that I really got to experience that sense of three-dimensionality within the three-dimensionality. And the easiest way to describe that, right, is you're listening to something, you hear that point source, and sometimes with the singer, right, you can hear kind of that ball of where their voice is coming from. But it's a flat circle. It's not really a ball. It's just the circle of where they're at. Tape, for the very first time, I could hear not just that, but I could hear a three-dimensional version of it. So I could hear plucking the string and the sound kind of emanating out like that. And it was kind of eye-opening, right? That's something that we all want to achieve and we all want to hear. It's amazing that I don't get that out of digital or vinyl, but you get it out of tape. And what's the next closest thing to tape if you don't have a tape deck like me yet? Well, that's Lacquer. And as it just so happens, today's topic is another Lacquer. This is the third in the Supersense live series, Jack Savoretti. Now, I didn't know who he was, but I knew that I loved the previous two live recordings, so I just had to have it. So, bought it. It's here. I've listened to it. And if I had started with his music on Koba's or Tidal, I probably would not have purchased this. And that really just comes down to his normal music, at least the 5 tracks that are included on this Lacquer. They aren't my style of music. It's not something that I would normally sit down and listen to for hours on end, or even just for one album. So it's kind of nice having that mystery going into something you don't know when it's going to be if it's someone that you haven't heard of before. But in this case, that was the right way to go about it because it was stripped down. It was just him and a guitar and a piano. And it was just absolutely beautiful to listen to. Before I forget, let's go over the 5 tracks that we get, which comes into a lofty $500 per track if you are paying the $500 price tag on this Lacquer. So do keep that in mind. These Lacquers aren't cheap. I think they're worth it, but that's because there's a certain sound quality about them that I'm after that you just can't get from normal vinyl. But without further ado, we have 5 tracks, 3 on the first side, 2 on the second side. It is Candlelight, What More Can I Do, and Home on side A, and Come Posso Raccontare and Case Colorata on side 2. He's an English-Italian singer, so the first side is all in English, and the second side is a little bit more intimate, a little bit more personable, but sang in Italian. And that didn't stop me from enjoying it, but it is definitely something to keep in mind as you're listening to this. These are all tracks that you can hear on Koba's first through any of his other albums. He does have, for Candlelight, he does have a stripped down-ish version that you can listen to, but also the full album version. And I can happily say that none of those compare to this. Circling back to my mention of tape and that three-dimensionality, Lacquer gives me about 80% of that. And I didn't fully realize that until I listened to this after listening to tape. That I can hear the exact posture that Jack is taking as he's playing his guitar and singing into the mic. I can hear when he's a little bit further away and more relaxed and taking advantage of the space versus right up in the microphone. And sure, you can get that from a live recording on digital or on vinyl, but what it doesn't get you is that true sense of space. And that's something I want to drive home with these live recordings for Supersense. They are a one-to-one. They record to tape. There's no mastering. That is then cut to lacquer. There's no anything in the middle of that. So it is as close to the original recording as you can get. And it shows in this case. I can hear exactly which way he's strumming on that guitar. I can hear the piano, them pressing on the keys and moving their hands across. There is this layering on the lacquer that just gave me goosebumps. The same type of goosebumps that I got last night that made me realize, fuck, I'm going to need a tape deck. It's just what it comes down to. But that's besides the point. As each track progressed, he got a little bit more intimate with what he was singing. You could hear the emotion in his voice. And it really made me sad a little bit that this isn't available in any other format, because obviously you can't be playing a lacquer back to back to back. So it's a good thing that I did record it, and there will be a 30-second sample available in a description below. It'll give you a taste of what I'm hearing, but just note it's so much better in person. When we flip to side B, that is where he really leans into that emotion and that, I hate to say it, but typical Italian-esque style of music. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just that those songs, as I heard them on Cobas, were very Italian. But the way that he sang them, they just drew your attention. If you were on your phone, you would have to put down your phone. That's how powerful his voice was, and that's just how captivating it was to listen the entire time. I wish there were more than 5 tracks, and really that's all it came down to. But yeah, this is a short video. I know that these Lacquer series aren't the most popular of the videos that I do, but it's just me sharing my passion. I love these lacquers enough that I have 12.5 of them now, and I'm going to keep on buying them because, to me, it is almost as pure sound as you can get compared to tape, for example. And not everyone has room for a tape deck, me included so far. But even when you look at the tapes, usually they are mastered to some extent. So that's where these lacquers do something special that you don't get on even tapes from Analog Productions or any of the other big players. They're unmastered. You get to hear the unfiltered music as it was recorded to tape, and I think there is a sense of purity in that I just personally enjoy. It brings a tear to my eyes sometimes, some of the music that I'm listening to. But until then, I will see y'all next week, where we will be talking about that tape experience and the next installment of the guest system series. I really can't wait to talk about this next system. It's one that's been in the back of my mind for the last 2 months, and I truly can't wait. But until then, cheers.